Yep, that's me, hiking well past the Arctic Circle. Let me tell y'all how my black ass ended up in this crazy adventure all the way in Norway. How far north is the Arctic Circle? About 66 degrees north latitude. It's up there. It's Santa Claus's backyard. And Tromsø and Alta are two of the most northern cities in Norway, north of the Arctic Circle. My last flight to get to Alta, I have to walk outside into the snow. You don't get a seat assignment. And that's the plane that I'm about to get on. Kind of looks like a seaplane. So it's a propeller plane. And the guy told me it's kind of like being on a bus. Tromsø to Alta was a super short flight, literally up and down in 45 minutes. We made it safely off of the small plane. It's not that cold, but it is snowing. So that was also an ordeal because my roller wouldn't fit. But it was there as soon as we stepped off the plane. So time to start this next adventure in Alta. To my surprise, we were greeted by Gans, who's actually the owner of the Klattermusen brand. It's 4:53 in the afternoon, and it is pitch black dark, y'all. Fred, who's one of the lead guides, was doing the drive to get us from Alta to our lodge. And it was going to be a bit over an hour to get there. In these conditions, I'm not going for front. I was a little worried. Real talk, Fred handled these roads in the snow and driving at night like a G. And I honestly never got used to the darkness. The sun setting, so early in the afternoon was really, really weird. We actually didn't even see the sun for most of the week I was there until I think the day before the last day that we departed and came below the Arctic Circle. So that was definitely something to get used to. So we just arrived at our home base for the week. We're headed inside to have a drink and warm up. After such a long travel day, it was really cozy to have cocktails out in the boathouse next to the fjord. And it was a chance for us to talk and get to know each other. After all, this was definitely giving real world. We were 10 strangers all coming together from all over the world in a house. You know how it goes. Dinner was held up in the attic of the second house, and they made it so cozy, and we had place settings with our names on it. The first course had traditional Nordic foods like pickled herring and fish eggs. Y'all, when I saw this first plate with the traditional Nordic style foods on it, your girl was a little concerned. I was like, oh no, is this what all of our meals are going to be like? But it wasn't. It wasn't. That was like just the first little appetizer, to let you try, some of the local traditional style. The rest of the meals that Eric made for us throughout the week of the trip were amazing. They were fantastic. That first night, what I thought was rice, but it was actually riced potato. So it looks like rice, but they were mashed potatoes. So good. Yeah, Eric the Viking really needs to come up with a cookbook because he fed us so well the entire week. It's a busy morning in our lodge house. We're getting ready to go out for our first adventure. Most of the group is going to do ski touring, not me. I will be snowshoeing, so I've got most of my gear on my layers. To be my top layer, I'm actually going to test out the Klattermusen brand instead of using what I wore, but I do have a backup just in case I get cold. Since we arrived in the dark, I didn't know the view, and this is absolutely breathtaking. Well, that's home base over here for the week. It's actually like a 5-bedroom home. It does have one bathroom. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that before I got here. So for the germaphobe girl, a little bit of a challenge, but we'll make it work and I'm gonna power it through. half of our group this morning is going to be doing ski touring. I will be with the slowpokes and we will be doing snowshoeing. So I'm looking forward to some peace, some quiet, and some really, really good views. We actually have two homes we're staying in. The other three people are staying in the home next door. Both have these lovely views of the fjord and hot tubs. All right, so we've arrived at our destination to begin our snowshoe adventure. So can't wait to show you some of the really cool scenery and what wildlife we might see on the trek. It's not my first time snowshoeing. I've done it in Canada actually, but it was way more flat terrain. This was my first time snowshoeing up a mountain. And I'm not gonna lie, physically, it was a little bit of a challenge, but I'm glad that I tried it. The cold really isn't bothering me. I was very prepared with my layers. Also, Klattermusen brought gear to let us, test out and try. So, the hardest thing was keeping my hands warm. And thankfully, my guide, Uni, allowed me to borrow her traditional Sami woven mittens that her grandmother actually wove. Immediately, I felt no wind, no cold. Technology cannot compare to just the old school, indigenous, traditional ways. They're always going to know best. So using those mittens was clutch.
Hi, I'm June and Tromsø from Finnmark, Norway. So, you had questions about my mittens. Well, we all have mittens like this, knitted out of wool. And these are my grandmothers have made these. And this is one that's been washed a couple of times, so it's more, it can take more wind.
And what's the pattern that's on it?
This is the Sami flag. The Sami flag, the ethnic minority of northern Norway. Well, they are spread, of course, all over Norway, but that's another thing. This is another one that's just like a traditional pattern. So you have traditional patterns, but then you have new patterns. It's become very popular to knit your own mittens now in Norway after Corona.
We have snowshoed all the way up here. And these views, look at this. It's incredible. This is one of our awesome guides, Yanni. She's actually the CEO for the Klattermusen Experiences. So we've split our group because I'm tired and I've hit my wall. So they went a little bit further up. And this is the thing I tell y'all all the time. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. If you're tired, you need to turn around. It's okay. I got the views. I had a good time. I've been enjoying nature. And as of now, I'm actually still quite warm. We're now kind of going into the wind. It's a little bit colder, but so far, so good. And I'll check back in. I hear there's a bonfire waiting for us when we get back to the bottom. We have finished our snowshoe trek for the day, and now it's time for the basically happy hour in the snow. They've built us this cool little snow pit. We're sitting on real reindeer skin. When we got there, some aquavit. So we're about to relax, enjoy, have a good time. I'm feeling this Scandinavian way. I think that's my 2% peeking through. After sandwiches and hot chocolate around the fire, Uni had a special project for us. So right now she is building a latrine. She's cutting out blocks of ice with this. Does the saw have a name?
An ice saw, snow saw.
Snow saw. So what am I doing? Do I need instructions?
You're cutting a block.
A block.
Saw out, sawing a block like that. And then you can go underneath afterwards and just loosen it.
Just go just like it's nothing. Easy peasy.
Anyway.
But Uni was making us all look so weak, man. She was heaving those blocks of ice like it was nothing. She is strong as hell. Like, kudos to her. She's amazing. Uni's not coming out.
Take it. Up and down. So now we have to level this, cut it, but I take the leftovers and just pack it in the holes here.
So from those blocks that we cut out from over there, we're making like a privacy wall right here.
He used paper that we burn here.
Ah, okay. Yo, digging this hole for this latrine is hard work, but Uni had this great idea to have us do something active to keep us warm while we waited for the crazy ski tours to come from off the mountain. So they were going to be a while. We finished our snowshoeing, and even though sitting around the pit was nice and cozy, it was getting a little chilly. So that is hard work carving through that ice and building that latrine. But I gotta admit, it was really satisfying. It was pretty fun. The ski tour group had a much longer and grueling day. They actually hiked to the top of the summit with their skis, then skied back down. No chairlift. We were really excited for this descent because one of the participants is in a wheelchair. Igor is actually the creative director for the Klattermusen Experiences brand, and they devised a way for him to experience the ski touring adventure. Woohoo! Go, Igor! It was so special to watch this all come to be, watching Igor's partner and friends rally around him. And it was not an easy feat, so this was a big deal, and I was really emotional with them too. This is the team, and these are young adults here that helped to get Igor up to the top of the mountain using a sleigh to pull him up so that then he'd be able to ski down. This day was already jam-packed, and it was not even the end of day one. You have to come back for part 2 to see my cultural experience with the indigenous people, the Sami people of Norway. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you won't miss part 2 of the Adventures of Lifestyle show with Outdoorsy Diva.